Hey guys, good to see you. Today I'd like to talk about line choice. I have friends who love braided line and don't want to throw anything else. I have other friends who really hate braided line and never want to throw it. Now it's true that most of the fans of braided line are bass fishermen, and most of my friends who aren't fans of braided line fish a lot of inshore, specifically in salt marshes and shallow water. And if you know a lot about line, you probably know why one group likes it and the other doesn't. But I like to think about line choice a lot like tool choice. You want to select the right tool for the job by assessing what braid does well and what braid doesn't do well. Well, braid does a lot of things well, right? First, it's extremely strong for its diameter, so you can pack a lot of line onto your reel, or you can use much heavier line than your reel was designed for. The second advantage of braid is that it's very low stretch. So when you have a lot of line out, you've cast something out pretty far, and you need to set the hook, you have the hook setting power you need, right? Well, that's really good. Those are really strong pros. The only con for braid, really there are two cons for braid, is that it can't be made clear or nearly invisible, so it's pretty high visibility line in clear water. And the real problem with braid is that it's not very abrasion resistant at all. Now, let me explain. A lot of people get confused about this. Braid is itself abrasive. If you wear braid against one of the guides on your rod, you can actually wear a little nick in the guide. But braid itself does not stand up to abrasion at all. Because it's a woven line made of Dyneema or Spectra, once you compromise one of those pieces of the braid, the entire braided line loses its integrity at that point really, really quickly, and it will break very, very easily. So, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? Here's how I think about it. If I'm going to be fishing in a bass lake that's relatively clear and open, and I know I'm not going to have problems getting wrapped up around stumps or pilings, I'll go ahead and fish braid. I think it's fantastic line. If the water's really clear, I'll just run a mono leader to keep visibility low. And I think that works perfectly well. Also, if I'm fishing inshore or offshore in deep open water, braid's my favorite line to use. Everything you want in a line for that kind of fishing, braid delivers. Now, I will often add some mono shock leader or perhaps a wire leader if I'm fishing for species that have a lot of teeth and I'm worried about them breaking my line off. But braided mainline in open water, fantastic. Where braid does not work well is, for instance, inshore fishing around pilings or barnacles or oyster beds or anything else that's sharp and rough. There, mono is vastly superior, and that's what you'll find me using when I'm fishing in a salt marsh, for instance. I'll be using 12 or 14 pound mono on a spinning reel because the line is going to be tough enough to take the abuse of the things on the bottom that it's going to run into. So for me, there isn't a best line, there isn't a bad line, there's the right line for the situation. Now, that's how I think about it, but I'd love to hear what you think about it. So let me know. Do you use braid all the time? Do you use mono all the time? Or do you do the same thing that I do and choose your line by what you need? I'll talk to you soon.